see here.
Lighting is horrible.
Can you fix it? Hey everyone. Let me
It is. Push it in some. Actually, it was better back where you had it. Yeah, won't you try turning the light around the other way? Oh, hold on. I saw it do something just now. Go back to where you were. Yeah. Come closer.
It's gonna have to work.
Yeah, that'd be working.
Has anybody coming out yet?
Yeah, it looks like 4.
Hey everyone.
There we go.
Here we go. Okay.
There we go. I think it's working. People are saying
Hello. How are you? Who's that?
Sure.
Hey there. So, we're all trying to get it together here. I got a good connection too. Yes. So we are here. We are live, of course. And I'm excited about today's wife chat. You know, we come on every Saturday at noon. I'm just trying to get my lighting together here, guys. Sorry about that. And that's better, hun, right there, I think. And you just have to be in front of it. Yeah. So go ahead and invite your followers. If you know anybody that's married, that desires to get married, that even maybe going through a rocky relationship or anything right now, they need to be on this scope. On today, as you can see, we have a special guest who is my husband. And I'm just excited for him to be a part of this journey with me and be able to share with you all as it relates to wives who win. So you guys know that's what the mission is all about. And when I talk about wives who win, for those that are on my Wednesday scopes and a part of my page, we're talking about wives who win. A wife is a warrior in the spirit. That means she's spiritually grounded. She's a woman of integrity and intentional about every single thing that she does. Merry Christmas to you too. And she never ever gives up. Never gives up. So she stays in the fight and she does what's necessary in order for the strength and wealth of her marriage covenant. So today we want to just talk about, my husband really will be talking. He's going to be talking about faith versus feelings. Hey Cameron. Faith versus feelings in a marriage covenant. And in the meantime, when he's talking, I'm going to try to do something with this light. I don't know what's going on today, but his name is Henry Ravenel. Many know him by Rav or HJ. I've known him for about over 11 years now, and I've watched him grow tremendously in so many different aspects of his life. And I just thank God for the opportunity to be able to see him then and now to be able to see him in this particular sphere of his life. And it's been an amazing journey by far. And our faith individually and as a couple has had a lot to do with that. And we're talking about marriage goals and all of these other things, relationship goals. But before we even get to that point, before we even get to the point of setting goals and having this great relationship and this wonderful marriage that many of us want, there's so many things that we need to uncover individually first and even in the marriage before we can reach that point. So without further ado, I'm going to step away for just a few and I'm going to let my husband just go in and chime in. Listen, you guys give him some hearts, give him some love, share with your followers. So if anybody needs to be on here, get them on this scope. I know that it's a Saturday and I know it's Christmas Eve. I know people are out shopping, but share this with as many people as you need to so that they can be blessed by this message. So without further ado, Henry Ravenel.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be on with you today. We're going to be talking a little bit about, in a marriage, having faith over your feelings. A lot of times what we see is many people are getting married all across the world and everyone desires a mate. Everyone desires that perfect husband. Everyone desires that perfect wife. But the problem that we're running into is many people do not understand the importance of having faith over what you feel. You have different feelings within a marriage. You sometimes you feel like giving up. Sometimes you don't understand, why do I have to go through this? Or why is it that I've been placed in this situation? Well, that's when your faith kicks in. And in a marriage, you need faith. It is something that you must have. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Treal and I got started, how we got to where we are, how we activated faith, how we grew from, that beginners area of marriage
craziness
up into a beautiful marriage 4 years later, and what our faith has allowed us to activate at all times that keeps us going and keeps our marriage manifesting to the next level. So I'm very, very excited to talk about that on today. And ask me some questions, honey. I like some questions, What are some questions that you may have? And then we'll dive into the goals.
What questions I may have?
Well, questions that we can encourage
Well, I guess one question I want to have is I want to talk about, because we talked about this a little bit. I know a lot of people, when they are about to get married and they're looking for the perfect mate, and they may see 5 of the qualities, but not all 7. Like, is that a total deal breaker? Like, what are some of the things that the woman should be looking for? What are some of the things that they should say, okay, you know what? He's not here, but I see that he has potential to get here, because even with us, you weren't always in this place. I met you 11 years ago, and you were growing, you were building. And I often talk about the story on my scope and with other women. Like, I saw potential. I knew one day that you would be successful and you would be a world changer, a leader, and things of that nature. So even, let's say, people in that predicament, when they don't see what they desire to see up front, is that a deal breaker for them to run away, or is that for them to fight and stay for that relationship that can turn into a beautiful marriage? I know it's a long question.
Well, I think the first thing that we need to understand is maturity. Maturity plays a major part when looking for a mate. You need to look at your maturity level as someone that's, I wouldn't say looking, because we know the word of the Lord says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So he should be looking. But while you are reviewing those that are looking, or those that are coming after you, you should consider, a maturity level. A lot of times, I just wasn't mature. When I met, Treal, I was, having fun, and, I just wasn't mature yet. But
you were like 22 years old.
Yeah, I was 20,
very young.
22, I was young, and, but, I was mature in a lot of areas, but then I wasn't really mature in some of the qualities that she was looking for. I had the nice car and all those type of things, and, was a hard worker. But, she was looking for a little bit more. And so you have to understand, first of all, the maturity level of your mate. You have to understand where he is. And then you have to ask yourself the question, hey, can I deal with just this little bit of stuff versus me having this long laundry list of things that I'm looking for in a mate, and he possesses and has qualities in this area, but he's just not matured yet. So the number one thing we need to look for is maturity. You can come with a long laundry list of things, but they need to be general things, and we were talking about this the other day. I want him to have a good job, and I want him to have a Lexus, and I want him to, or he doesn't have to have a Lexus. He just needs to have a car and a good job, and it needs to be well-mannered and well-respected, and he needs to know how to dress a certain way and present himself in public. Those are a lot of the qualities that women over a period of time have demanded these things from a guy. But you never know the guy's situation. He could be in a situation where he just, wasn't taught those things at that level. He just doesn't know, how to mature to the level of things that you want, because that's what you desire, because that's what you've seen, another successful woman have, looking at another situation and saying, well, she got a good man, so why can't I? You can't always look at it that way. You've got to really look at, God, does he possess the basic qualities that I need, that I know that we could grow together? Does he have those basic qualities needed? Because if he has those, I can work with the rest. He may not, be in church as much as I do. He may not go to Bible study every, week. He may not, be on my knees and before the Lord, be on his knees and before the Lord as often as I am. But I know he has that relationship. I know that he's saved. I know that he's a hard worker. I know that he's trying. I know that he has goals in life and he's been able to communicate these goals to me. And then that's good. Start praying from there. God, if this is the one, show me, line him up, get him ready, God. If he's that Lion of Judah that you have called into my life, and to be that greater place or to help take me to that greater place. And we feed off each other and build our relationship and build this prospective marriage that we both desire. Lord, just allow me to meet him at where he is and allow him to meet me at where I am. Because a lot of times, because we, or not we as men, but women will, look at other women and look at other relationships and look at other families and say, I see myself in that area. But you may not have the quality to be where Miss Jones is, or you may not have the quality to be where that other woman is. So, you really have to self-evaluate yourself and make sure that you're at a place where you're just not, mimicking someone, or you're just not, wanting to be a follower of someone else's relationship, but you have to review the qualities that you bring to the table and really have a clear understanding of, am I able to mesh this with my prospective mate and his personality as well?
And one thing I like to always say when he talks about qualities, that's very, very, very important when you're in a relationship. That's very important as an individual in itself. And a lot of women miss out on that fact. We want the nice house. We want the nice car. We want him to have it all together. But then we lack certain qualities within our own life. So even as a woman of God, those that are on here, hey, Coach D, those that are on here, and you're looking at your marriage, perhaps, you're looking at your relationship, perhaps, and you're trying to figure out why it's not going the way you desire, why it doesn't look like so-and-so, why is it not prospering or growing? Not so much you wanted to emulate somebody else's relationship, but why is my relationship not prospering? Why is my relationship not growing? You then have to go back to the root. You then have to go back to the source. You are the source. So if something around you is not growing, then you're prohibiting that growth. You're prohibiting that prosperity because you have the power to gain wealth. And that's just not talking about in a tangible perspective. That's intangible wealth. That's intangible prosperity. So what have you been doing within your own life? That's why we're so huge on growth and development. It's so huge on finding out who you are before you get in that relationship, before you want the man or want that husband to change. Who are you? Who you be is what I like to say. Who you be. What have you discovered your likes and your dislikes and your needs and your wants? What makes you hurt? What makes you cry? Have you gotten over that past pain and that past hurt? Are you okay within your own self? Or are you looking to be in something to, number one, say you are just in something, or you're looking to be in something because you're looking for fulfillment. You're looking for something to complete you, something to make you whole, something to make you feel as if you have value or you have purpose. So you have to go back to what are your beard qualities? What are your unbendable qualities? What are the things that are inside of you that is going to contribute to the growth that is all around you? Who you are is what everything else is around you is going to become. And I often like to say is whatever you want to change around you, then you begin to change, because the change first starts with inside of you.
Within. I would definitely agree. I would also say that, when looking for a mate, you need to make sure that if you have a father, you have a good father, and he's been a great male example in your life, you need to look at, the qualities that my dad had. If my dad was a hard worker, if my dad changed oil, if my dad, treated me like a princess, those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Do I see the same qualities that my dad had, if he was a good dad, in this particular mate that I want to be with? I mean, it's an old saying, but it's something that's very, very true. And it's something that we as men do. We look at qualities in a woman that our mom has. If my mom was, a good lady and, she did it this way, you don't have to mimic her exactly or be exactly what she is, but I'm going to expect you to have some sort of standard in your life as a woman that my mom had, because that's what I've seen coming up as a young man. So when I get out in the world and I began to look for that mate, that's kind of what I'm going to expect.
Well, you did expect. And I'm laughing because his sister often calls me Little Mary. My mom his mom, which I call my mom, name is Mary. And that's so very true, because when you see people of value that are around you, you do typically go after those same type of people. That's even in relationships, that's in friendships and things of that nature. When you've had sustainable and wealthy and healthy and valuable friendships and relationships that you grew up around, that's what you're going to look for when you get out in the world. And I want to just cover something really quickly, because I want to talk about even the feelings part as it relates to you. Hey, Sophia, you going into the relationship and you growing into the marriage. You have to understand, we often say that you should not be led by your emotions. You should not be emotionally led, but you should be spiritually driven. And all too often, especially as women, we are led by our emotions. We are led by our feelings, which causes us to make jumpstart decisions, causes us to make premature decisions, or causes us to make wrong decisions altogether. Number one, as it relates to our life, and also relates to the mate that we're with or we desire to be with. So you have to get your feelings under control. And if you are still in a place where you are struggling with being up and being down, being sideways, being backwards, or whatever the case may be, you still need to grow. And you, my friend, if you are single, honestly, you're not ready to get in a marriage. You're not ready to develop and have a sustainable relationship or marriage, because you are still trying to figure out how to deal with you. You're still trying to figure out how to adjust you on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? You're still struggling with being angry and being upset and being mad for no apparent reason, because you can't get your feelings and your emotions under control. Because in a marriage, what I can tell you, your feelings are going to try to override you every single time, because that's what we're used to. Before we got saved and came into the knowledge of who God is, we were led by our feelings. We felt this way, this is what we did. If we felt this way, this is what we said, this is what we thought, and things of that nature. So it's very hard to then transition from allowing God to be in full control and your faith to be in full control, because faith is what? The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. So a lot of things in your marriage and your relationship, you're going to have to walk by faith. And when everything looks ugly, right? When everything doesn't look like the way you desire for it to be, you're going to have to hold on to faith and hold on to the hope.
Absolutely. Even when you're at that most, frustrating point. We've had frustrating points in our marriage. I think we've done very well looking at marriages across the country and just seeing some of the things that people go through and some of the things they endure. And then looking back over our little 4 years and the lifetime that we have to go together, I'm like, we didn't have problems. We didn't have anything drastic, to compare to a lot of things of what people go through. But I will say that, just tapping back into having faith over feelings, here's something that helped me get through, quarrels and arguments and, those times when, I may have felt down about a situation and I wanted to be angry, but I had to remember that my love for my wife was bigger than that particular moment. And that's something that you have to say when you're dealing with your mate on a daily basis, and you get to a point where sometimes you want to throw in the towel, or you want to, walk away, or whatever it is that you want to do. My love for you, my faith as it relates to my marriage is bigger than this particular moment right now. Moments will tear your marriage up. Moments will tear you down. Moments will frustrate you. Moments will leave you feeling like you're under the bus. But if you activate faith over those particular moments, you always come out on top. It's bigger than what it is right now.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to be spiritually grounded. I say often that we talk to wives and I minister to wives that know who God is, because it's not my responsibility at this juncture what God has given me to convince you of who God is. So you have to have an understanding and a knowledge of who he is, and you have to believe his word as it relates to your life and as it relates to your marriage. And like my husband was saying, like moments, like if you're in that moment and you allow that very moment to be the deciding factor of your next decision, you can very well be in trouble. Your marriage can very well end. We've seen millions of people just all across America. We've seen people within our own circle who marriages have failed because of momentary situations. Because things that had happened and they had no control over, and they allow those simple, hey Mika, they allow those simple, what we look back now and see simple things to destroy their marriage. And you have to know that there's something greater. You have to know that there's something bigger. That's why the maturity factor in that is so important. It's not about, okay, I'm older in age. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. But maturity is as far as who you are, who you desire to be, who you're growing into. And there are so many things that you need to do. So as we talk about goals and we talk about all of these things and going into the year of 2017, if you know that you have not matured, if you know you still blow up at any given reason, if you know you're still dealing with your emotions and your feelings, having control of your life,
that needs to be your first goal.
Absolutely. That needs to be your first goal. Take relationship goals off the table. Take marriage goals off the table, even if you're married. I talk to a lot of women all the time, and they have issues and problems in their marriage. Why? It's not necessarily because the husband is the issue. It's because she has a lot of drama. She's dramatic. She's insecure. She has low self-esteem. She doesn't value her own self. She doesn't have self-love. So she's looking to this person to bring all of these things to her, when in fact, she should be looking to herself and to her creator. So that should be your number one goal this year, 2017.
Maturity.
Absolutely. And hey, we want this to be open discussion. So those of you that are on here, I know some people are coming on, and we have a few people on here, honey. As you can see, it doesn't really tell you the number, but if you know somebody needs to be on here, please go ahead and invite them on. Give us the hearts. Please show us some love, but also ask us some questions, because we're talking about faith over feelings, but we also want this to be an open forum for those that are married, for those that are single, for those that are desiring. If you are in your marriage right now and you're seeing some things and you're saying, you know what? I don't know if I have faith to get over this infidelity. I don't know if I have faith to get over this level of emotional abuse. Or I don't know if I have faith to just still deal with him because he has a issue or problem that seems too much for me. And what I can tell you, it is too much for you. It is too much for you. If you try to do it in your own strength, it is too much for you. I am a big advocate for marriage, but I do understand that there are times where there is temporary separation that has to take place, and unfortunately, sometimes permanent separation. But in another breath, I believe that there is nothing that is irreparable, and you guys will hear me talk about that all the time. But it's going to take faith over what you feel.
Absolutely. Anything can be fixed when God is a factor. You know, God can heal anything. Relationships, marriages, you know, your obstacles that you face, day-to-day life, employment, work. God is just that awesome. So if you think that your marriage is going haywire, or that your marriage is in a rough patch, your relationship is in a rough patch, always know that there is someone else that is dealing with something a whole lot worse than you.
Absolutely.
Does that mean stay there and put up with a whole bunch of craziness? No, that's not what we're saying. But we're saying a lot of times we as you know, millennials and the X generation and the Z generation, you know, our standards are so out the window. You know, we've watched so many families and so many relationships, and we've set these imaginary standards you know, that just aren't realistic a lot of times. You know, like he has to have this, you know, he has to make, you know, 6 figures, and, you know, he has to drive this, and, you know, she has to have this, she has to have this Coca-Cola body, and, you know what I'm saying, she has to know how to cook like my mom, and, you know what I'm saying, she has to have long hair or short hair or whatever.
I don't cook like his mom, and I don't have long hair right now.
But you know, a lot of times, you know,
hey,
those have-tos is what we have to, you know, the word of the Lord says, submit ye to one another.
That's right.
We don't like to pay that much attention, because we think submitting is sometimes just one-sided. But, you know, just check your maturity. A lot of that comes with maturity. You know, don't be a follower, be a leader. You know, set the tone for your marriage, set your goals. You know, set where you want your marriage to go, set where you want your friendship to go, because you got to be friends before you can be anything. So a lot of people jump in situations prematurely. A lot of people get connected and marry their lust partners instead of their love partners. I posted something about that not too long ago. So, you know, you have to just use wisdom, constant wisdom. You know, use common sense. That seems like something that's leaving a lot of us today, you know.
Absolutely.
A lot of us aren't using common sense when picking mates and getting into relationships. And then when you get down the line and you see that things are torn down the middle and you're asking yourself, why? Well, you have to go back to the foundation of your situation and ask yourself, you know, where did you go wrong? You know, it's pretty simple where you went wrong. You saw these things in the beginning and you still indulged. You still indulged in lust and tried to turn lust into love. And now that you're you're equaling a mess, you're trying to go backwards and figure out, what did I do wrong? Well, your foundation was wrong, and that's why it was cracked. It was shaky. However you build your foundation, you can bet your bottom dollar that is how you will stand. If you have a rocky foundation, it will not work.
That's right. But the Bible tells us that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do?
Sure.
You can't go build a house and just put up walls and put a roof up with no foundation. You have to lay the foundation first. And something you were saying when you were talking about, and you were joking about the cold body and things of that nature. But one thing that I often talk about with that too is the acceptance. And I believe that I have to go back to this maturity thing because it's so very relevant. When the person is maturing and the mate that they are with are see that they're maturing and that they're growing, wouldn't you say, honey, that then encourages them to mature or to grow in certain areas of their life, and then they can see that person in their fullness and in all their splendor?
Absolutely.
And that causes a growth in that
Absolutely.
perspective too?
Absolutely. That should push you. That pushes you to want to do better, to want to be better. If I'm going out and I'm constantly getting it, and my wife is at home, sewing a blanket, at some point she's going to have to wake up and realize that, hey, I'm out here getting it. Mm-hmm. And sewing blankets, unless you're patenting it, unless you're talking about, taking it to a warehouse, boxing it up, and distributing it to various different industries, that's not working for where I am.
Right.
And vice versa. If my wife is out and she's, becoming that great woman that God has designed for her life, I need to be able to look at what are some of the things that she's doing to get her to that level. What is her prayer like? What is her prayer time like? What is her relationship with God? If that's the most strong foundation that has brought her to the most successful place that she is, then I as a man need to jump on board. I don't need to be, she's praying and I'm drinking Bud Light. I don't need to be in a situation where, she's before the Lord and preparing herself for the week, down to meal preps and healthy living and all these type things that make a powerful couple what they are. I'm going left and she's going right. So you need to line up your life. You do need to review what your mate is doing. Because you need to be pulling energy and strength from each other.
That's right. Hey, Calvin.
You need to be pulling from each other. You need to be grasping knowledge from each other, encouraging ye one another. That's what marriage is all about.
That's right.
I pull from you, I pray for you, you pray for me. I pull from you, you pull from me. We do this thing together.
Absolutely. And then that goes back to my wives, my woman out here, consistency. That's why you have to be consistent in your actions. You have to be consistent in your thought process. You have to be consistent in your conversations with your husband, because as you guys know, many of you that are on here, the foundational scripture for wives who win is 1 Peter 3:1-8, where it talks about your husband will not be won over by your conversation, your discussions, but he will be won over by your conduct and your character. So as you are doing these things and bettering your life and maturing and things of that nature, and even if he doesn't jump on board right away, even if he sees your sacrifice and things that you're doing for the marriage and things that you're doing for yourself, and if he doesn't jump on board right away, you have to remain consistent. You have to remain consistent in what you're doing. You can't say, well, you see me over here trying to pray, you see me over here trying to do this and blah, blah, blah. You know how we can do. When things don't start working out the way we want, our feelings pop in, right? And the faith goes out the window. So we have to stay in faith and we have to stay in consistency, because the consistency is what's going to drive the relationship.
Absolutely.
The consistency is what's going to drive your husband to want to change, to want to be better, to want to do better, and want to do right by you. And if you're in a situation, I want to say this right now, if you're in a situation and your husband may not be doing right by you, he may not be being better or wanting to do better, it's not necessarily that he doesn't love you. It's not necessarily that he doesn't love you and he doesn't value you as a person, but you then have to go back to the drawing board and say, how am I contributing to his behavior? Because I cannot believe for the life of me, if you're doing all you can and you're being so loving and so kind and so gentle and you're exemplifying a Proverbs 31 woman, that your husband at some point will not get on board. It's not easy for somebody to mistreat somebody that is so good. That's impossible.
And be in Christ.
Absolutely. And be in Christ. So if that's your story, I definitely want you to go back to the drawing board. I'm all about self-development, self-evaluation, and that's what I've done even throughout my marriage. As far as my goals are concerned, I've done that repeatedly just to be able to see where I've been falling short, what I've done wrong. I've even gone to my husband. I'm going to go to him more often, and asking him, how can I improve? What, am I doing everything that I can do for this marriage? Am I contributing the way I need to contribute? And I also want to ask him, not on this quote, because I don't know what he's going to say. Like, where am I at right now between a 1 and 10? Like, where am I at this point versus where I was when I first got married? If I was a 1, I don't know. But, where am I now, right? And as you see your growth and your development, and your husband sees it, your children see it, and people around you see it, then that should even cause you to want to be better even the more, and to continue to walk in your purpose and achieve other goals in your life, because I'm sure you have other goals. But what I can tell you is that your other goals are not going to work out. They're not going to manifest if your goals within your home is not manifesting. You can't go out and start a successful business and have a broken marriage. You can't go out and have a successful relationship with other people and your relationships within your own family are broken. So those are the things that we want you guys to be focusing on as you're going in 2017. Focus on the maturity level. Focus on being consistent. Then focus on setting each goals in different area of your life, whatever that may look like for you. For me, that looks like breaking them down in quarters and going in different spheres, spirituality goals, spiritual goals, financial goals, family goals, whatever that looks like for you, then do that. But the number one person you need to look at in this equation is yourself before you can go into anything else.
Yeah, and I just want to say, it's very, very important that you minister to your marriage where it is. Minister to your marriage where it is. You have a bubble, living life in a bubble, or you have this beautiful picture of how you want your life to be. And yeah, I know, speaking into existence, call those things to be not as though they were. All that is awesome.
I do the work.
But you have to do the work. So if you know your marriage is not at a 10 and you're trying to minister to it at a 10, yeah, you've got faith, and you have faith over feelings as well, but you really, really need to call out those key intricate issues that are pulling you guys back, or holding you back, holding you down, and that's very, very important.
Absolutely.
You got to do it.
And you know what? Just speaking of a 10, and I talked about the score, and if I'm plugging, I'm seeding, right? This is called seeding, you guys. I don't want to be at a 10, and I say that because I always want room for improvement.
Absolutely.
I always want to grow. If I'm at a 10, then I'm unnecessary, right? Then there's no point at that juncture. And what I want to say also about that is that,
that's good.
Don't desire your husband to be just like you. Thank you, Holy Ghost. For those that are wanting to get married, desiring to get married, oh, he's not like me. He doesn't like what I like. He doesn't do what I do. We don't have the same, compatibility, so to speak. They're good that you seem to have some of the same qualities. You have some of the same core values, like faith. Our relationship with God is one of our strong core values. Our business success as it relates to that realm and making an impact is one of our core values. Us teaching our children how to be change agents in the earth, that's one of our core values. But I don't expect my husband to be like me, nor does he expect me to be like him. Why? Because if we were just alike, then one of us would be unnecessary.
Absolutely. Boring.
We are two totally different people. Now, we have some things in common. We both have great attitudes. We like joke and have fun and all that. But we are totally separate, believe it or not. And I enjoy that.
It's a good balance.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good balance. And that's very, very important in a marriage, is that you must have balance between the two personalities. If you don't have that, we've built this big flowery bouquet of
matching personalities. That's us.
Yeah,
believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Now, I'm an extroverty on here, but believe it or not, if you go look up the definition as relates to introvert, that's me all day long. So my husband is an extreme extrovert.
And I like to stay on the go. I like to stay busy. I like to do, strike up a business conversation with me, a big social person, and things of that nature. And then my wife, on other ends, in other times, she just needs, her space. She needs her work area. She needs to, digress. And that's not me. I can just keep going. So we have a good balance, and that's very, very important, because when I'm going, I need a calm atmosphere at some point. I need to be in a calm atmosphere. I need for that to balance off. So how do we make that work? We make that work in a lot of ways.
I think acceptance would be one. We just accept that we're two different people.
That we're different. That would be number one.
They're not trying to. I'm not trying to change him. He's not trying to change me. Mm-hmm. You know, and again, that still goes back to maturity, understanding that people are different. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that he can be social because guess what? When I do go out, he can lead that conversation because I don't want to. You know, sometimes I don't know how to. You know what I mean? Being I'm very shy, believe it or not, if I'm in public. But I have learned from him, from one, and I have grown so much to know, okay, if I'm out and I am in a room full of people, I need to open my mouth and I need to have a conversation. So as scared as I am on the inside, I still do it. And I know that he's right there with me. And he does it effortlessly. So I draw strength from him when I need to. So I think making it work and how you can chime in is just accepting who the person is, accepting their personality, not trying to change them, accepting that his extrovertness is a strength, right? And my introvertness is a strength for him.
Absolutely.
So we're strengthening the marriage with things that are opposite of one another, if that makes sense. That makes sense? Jill, come on and say. You can add if you want to add something.
Absolutely. And I also want to say, get back to balance. You've got to have that balance. It's very, very important. You know, her time versus your time. A lot of times couples don't like to talk about this, but that's why so many marriages end up going in two different ways, is because, you know, you're trying to cling to your husband all day long. Cling to him all the time. She's trying to cling to you all the time and up underneath you all the time. You don't need that. You can't deal with that and be prosperous in a marriage. Is unacceptable. You know, the calling, the communication, honey, how was your day? How are things going? I love you. I miss you. Those things that you have from the heart that you know are key intricates. Communication is a key intricate to a prosperous marriage. And you know those things are necessary. But, you know, some of you wives that constantly hound your husband all the time, and some of you husbands that constantly hound your wives all the time, you know, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because at some point you're going to get to a breaking point. Mm-hmm. And that breaking point is going to leave your marriage devastated. And then you end up just operating in something that's broken. And then you turn in from a marriage to roommates. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother subject.
Oh, we might talk about that next month because I want to get him on once a month. And you know what? You have to. Honey, I was going to say something. Get a life. That's what I was going to say. Get a life. And what I found is that
hold on. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day about the same thing. You know, the reason why his wife clings to him so much is because she doesn't have a life of his own. So I began to ask, well, what does she do? What type of groups, you know, what type of girlfriends does she have? What type of circle is she involved in? You know, what are the type of people that are around her? And, she goes to choir rehearsal and then comes home and, you know, she goes to work and, you know, she has a part-time job, but that's it. Okay. So that little bit of time that she does have, she's going to be clinging to you. She needs to balance her life more. You got to balance it. You
Absolutely.
Can't be up underneath your mate all the time.
I can't take it.
It's just
it's extra right here. I love him, and he couldn't take me. Yeah. You know, but I mean, you're not built to be around people all the time like that. Yes, your mate is the person that you live with, but even that, you're going to be separated from that at some point. You know, you go to work or whatever. You're not going to be around anybody 24 hours a day. And what I want to say is that God has made us relationally. And being relationally is you have different people in your life that meet different relationship needs. Like you have your parent, they meet those parental relationship needs. You have your siblings, they meet those sibling relationship needs. Your children meet the children relationship needs. And what a lot of times what women do in particular, I know some men too, but more so women, we want the man to be our father, our brother, our best friend, our BFF, our girlfriend. Let's go get our nails done together and all that. He's not built for that. He doesn't have the capacity to be able to give to you like that. That's why you need to have an outside circle. You need to have different relationships that you can go to. Well, I know I can call Juanita because she'll go out to eat. I know I can call Quinny because I know she'll want to go see a good movie or whatever the case may be. I know I can call my son because he likes to do the same things that I like or whatever the case may be. So you have different people in your life that likes to do different things and you need to leverage relationships. That's a whole nother scope. That's good. Leverage your relationships with other people.
That's good. That's good.
Let's see what kind of time we're working with. Oh, we are out of time, you guys. I didn't even mean to be on this long, but guess what we need to do today? We still need to get our Christmas tree. And we need to get some other things for the house. So we didn't get a Christmas tree because you know what? I love Christmas. I love what it all stands for, but sometimes I don't really get into all of the other stuff. So, but we're going to do that today. And I would be remiss if I don't tell you guys, listen, I know you all have a lot of things that you want to achieve in the year 2017. And some of you are on the scope right now. You're saying, looking at your life right now. And many of the things that you had set out for the first quarter, second, third, and fourth quarter of 2016 did not come to fruition. Is it because you were not mature? Is it because you were not consistent? Is it because you were not operating in faith? What was it for you? And if any of those areas resonate with you, I want to tell you about our goal setting, our goal achievement workshop that we're having on January 5th at 8 p.m. It's a virtual workshop. And the workshop is not only designed for business goals, it's designed for life and relationship goals in every aspect of your life. So what we're going to do during that 90-minute session with you is walk hand in hand with you on showing you how to set clear and concise goals that you can achieve as early as the first quarter of 2017. We're going to provide you with a system that you can put in place that works for you in your life. So if you're on here today and you're saying, you know what, I need to get my relationships in order. I need to get my life in order. There's some things I want to do in other areas of my life. I need to walk hand in hand. Yes, 90 minutes, girl. It's going to rock out. And then in addition to that, Mika, we're going to do a 30-minute Q&A. So this is going to be an extremely intensive goal achievement. As you notice, I'm not saying goal setting. I'm saying goal achievement, because we have to get from a place where we're just setting and we're talking and we're speaking about it, right? And so we're actually achieving. And if you've been in 2016 and you have not seen things achieved in your life, then this is the breaking point on today. So listen, today until midnight tonight, we are offering this workshop for $29. Oh, that's less than $1 a day. Somebody get your life. Get your life. You're going to get a vision plan. You're going to get a workbook that's going to give you at least 3 months worth of goal achievement calendar per se, like a checklist and a task list that you'll be able to use to set and achieve your goals for 2017. There's so much goodness, but I want you to go to tinyurl.com/achieve2017, tinyurl.com/achieve, ACHIEVED 2017, and sign up. If you haven't got yourself anything for Christmas, you've spent your money on everybody else, including those crumb snatchers, this is the gift that you need to get for you. This is the gift that keeps on giving and giving and giving. So go over to tinyurl.com/achieve2017 and sign up for this workshop today, because after today is going to go up for $39.
And I also want to say, just make sure that you finish 2016 strong. 2016 has been a very rough year for many people in many different situations, whether it's been your marriage, whether it's been, personal issues, whatever it may be. We understand as followers of Christ that 2016 has been a rough year, but I declare and decree that 2017 is going to be your year of manifestation.
Yes.
The things that God has for you in 2017 is going to blow your mind. But let me tell you what that is dependent upon. It's dependent upon your attitude and how you end 2016. Right now, you are setting the goal for 2017. So I know a lot of you are caught up in the holiday season and the holiday cheer, but don't allow that to not allow you to finish strong.
That's right.
Finish strong so that when 2017 comes in, you are able to grasp all that God has for you.
That's right. Strong finish, strong finish. So that's our time. Thank you so much for coming on. Monday we'll be on for our discipleship training, and I'll be teaching. So I hope to see you all on my Facebook on Monday at 8 p.m. I hope you all have a very, very, very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy your family. Love on those people that you haven't talked to in quite some time. Start rebuilding and reconciling those relationships, especially if God has been pressing that on your heart this holiday season. So I'll see you next time. Love you all. Bye.
Peace.